Hi everybody, welcome to another US Geoguessr video. I would like to play No Moving tonight. It's my favorite way to play. This is also one of my favorite maps, A Stochastic Populated United States. I currently hold the No Moving world record on this map, 24355. I've tried several times to better that, many times actually, and haven't done so yet. And I'm actually kind of salty because if you look at my world record seed, where I messed up the most was in Ohio. So that is particularly stinging here. Let's see if I can do better. I'm going to try to give you some commentary, some analysis, take you through my thought process as I go through these United States. Love national maps. Love No Moving. Let's see what we can do. Fairly generic scene at first. Plugging in my laptop here, so that's the lack of any movement here. Okay, I'm ready to go. Bowen and hard to read. Bowen and Terrell, maybe. License plate in front of me on this minivan appears green. It appears to at least be kind of a pale green. One in front of me also seems a little bit pale white or maybe a little bit green. It says Richmond Honda. Okay, definitely could be a clue. This plate in front of me definitely looks green, though. I would be thinking Tennessee if I didn't see that Richmond plate. We certainly could be in Tennessee, that's for sure. I'm looking around to see if we can see any front plates. We are seeing a whole boatload of back plates. All of these cars are parked with the rear plates facing us, except this one way up the street. That red car seems to lack a front plate. And that is important because that's the second clue now that has pointed me away from Virginia. The green plate and then the lack of a front plate on that red car up the street. So Richmond Honda is my most immediate clue, and I gotta say that might be a Virginia plate I'm looking at. Lots of Richmonds though, right? There's Richmond, Kentucky as well. And I'm sure I'm forgetting many. There's Richmond, Indiana. Could that be what we're looking at? Don't think so. This looks a lot more southern than Indiana. Look at the sandiness of the soil, the dryness of that soil. Just the general, yeah, lower class, should I say, nature of the surroundings. Cyclone fence, these kind of outbuildings here. Can't get much in the way of foliage. We're mostly deciduous, actually. I feel like were we farther in the south, I would be getting a lot more of those loblolly pines. We're on a dead north-south road. Bowen and Iredell, something like that. Woman wearing some kind of tacky pleather boots. A lot of this just kind of says south. I'm sorry, man. I just, if you're in Google Street View, I gotta use every clue I can get. Like, that's not a California woman, right? I mean, not dressed like a typical, maybe Long Islander either, right? So, everything about this is telling me Tennessee. The green plate, lack of front plate. Virginia, again, would have front plates. Now, I'm just going off of that one car. Maybe I'm focusing way too much on this Richmond Honda, but it's right in front of me. And I believe it says Richmond, Virginia. Virginia would have front plates, though. They're one of the few southern states that would have front plates. All right, so where does that leave us? We're not going to get very much more in the way of clues here. I think with that green front plate, I think with the relative flatness of what we're seeing, that would take me away from Virginia for sure, but I think I would go more towards Western Tennessee. If I'm pretty confident in Tennessee, Memphis is a bad hedge. Memphis is always a bad hedge, right? Because it's on the edge of the state. If we're not there, it's gonna cost us a lot. What about these signs? These street signs are a little bit distinct with those white borders. Another thing that's drawing me towards Memphis is the fact that this terrain is so flat and the grid system is going pretty north-south and east-west. Maybe this road is a little bit more northeast than I thought. That would also lend itself to Memphis, though. I don't think we're in Nashville. Nashville's hillier. Nashville, the grid system, as you can see here, is a bit more chaotic. We have numbered roads in at least North Nashville. We could be in South Nashville. I think I'm moving away from Chattanooga or Knoxville just because of the terrain. And of course we could not be in Tennessee at all, but I think, man, a lot of this is just leading me towards Memphis. Could we maybe be in Clarksville? I feel like Clarksville would be hillier, too. I feel like Clarksville would be hillier. Let's send it. I'm not sure if my Memphis region guessing, if that's indeed where we are, is that sharp. Orange Mound. Okay, Orange Mound I know is, I want to say that is a much more African American part of Memphis. Listen to a lot of 3-6 Mafia. 3-6 Mafia I know has talked about Orange Mound. A lot of my American geographical knowledge, at least in some big cities, come from hip hop. So I'm going to move away from Orange Mound. I mean, it's just, we're not, I wouldn't say we're nice here, but like, I think we're nicer than we might be. Like, in real inner Memphis, Nutbush, or the Heights, I like, let's maybe go out there. A little bit like outer Memphis. That would be a little bit more of a hedge. Wow. Wow. That is an unbelievably good first round. We were in Northeast Memphis. If I would have been more confident, I think I could have found Bowen Avenue. I was right there. Wow. Bowen, Treadwell in Memphis. I'm just going to go and admire this. Wow. I mean, I'm so sorry to belabor this, but I am so proud of this guess. I mean, it took me, what, 7, 8 minutes, but I talked it out. And I kept talking about how Memphis was a bad hedge, and I had to be confident. Oh, man. Okay, let's hope that the rest of the seed goes as well. Wow, great way to start. 4993 in Memphis. Okay, let's regroup for round two. It looks like we're going to have a bit of an easy round two. That is a yellow plate right in front of me. It looks like that is one of those turquoise plates farther off in the distance. We are definitely in New Mexico, that's for sure. The question is, where are we in New Mexico? I've seen 2 New Mexico plates. We see a lack of a front plate there on that car farther down the road. That it was a valuable clue that led me to Tennessee, led me to Memphis. I'm going to remember those Memphis street signs now. Going to be more confident hedging Memphis in the future. You see these kind of artificial grass lawns, these kind of astroturf lawns? That might lead me to believe, or I mean, it's actually very indicative of the fact that we're in, desert New Mexico, possibly high desert. We're very suburban. We're getting no street signs this time, even. Those street signs are just way too far away to read. So we're on a very suburban and a very northeast, southeast, southwest road. There's not really very many places we could be. My first instinct when I realized we were in New Mexico would be somewhere like Rio Rancho. And I think that that could be where we are. But I also would expect in Rio Rancho, and it could be that we are just getting blocked by the sun, by these houses. I would really expect there to be visible mountains to the east if we were in somewhere like Rio Rancho, or really if we were in almost any part of Albuquerque. Sandia Peak, the mountains. Of course we're blocked here, but is that a mountain? Okay, that might be a mountain. We just see a little bit peeking above those two houses. Wow. And while I'm looking at the top of that supposed mountain, and now I'm thinking that maybe I couldn't tell whether this was like possibly very brightly lit snow-capped mountain in the distance, like up here, maybe through here, or whether that's just part of the tree and I was making it up. But I really think that's a mountain to the dead east, to the northeast. So that would support everything I'm saying. That makes me more confident in a guess in North Albuquerque. If we were in somewhere like the capital, Santa Fe, I would really expect to be seeing different architecture. I guess the question I want to ask myself, if we were in Albuquerque suburbs, could these conceivably be some Walter White houses? Is this a Walter White neighborhood? Does that look like a house where he threw the pizza on the roof? I don't, not really. But could be in another part of Albuquerque. I think hedging Albuquerque is good on this map, and in New Mexico in general. Here's Las Cruces. Las Cruces. I'm not, of course, my Spanish is terrible, probably. Could we be somewhere like there? Would we have those high mountains to the east? I think we still would, yeah. It would be directly to the east. I think we would be more deserty. As I'm looking around, we have rocks everywhere. This, don't get me wrong, this is some desert. This is some desert goodness. But I think it's a little bit higher desert. I really do. Okay, so let's go at least to South Albuquerque suburbs, somewhere like Belen. Belen? Not 100% sure of the pronunciation there. It would have high mountains to the due east, Los Chaves, Los Lunas. Certainly I think could be just about anywhere here, but we're looking more suburban. I think if we're in Albuquerque, we're going to be more, in outer Albuquerque. Definitely not in here. That has a much kind of more urban Phoenix feel, I believe. It has much more of a rigid grid system. I think we're in Albuquerque or out here. But I think I'm comfortable going Rio Rancho. Some of these roads are more suburban. I think this could definitely be like somewhere that we're looking at. 7 Bar North. What about there? Let's try it. It was my first instinct. I learned not to go against my first instinct unless, for compelling reasons. Let's try it. Beautiful. Beautiful. So I was a little bit too north in Rio Rancho, a little bit too north. We were in city of Albuquerque. We were in northwest Albuquerque. And, yeah, everything lines up. Everything lines up. Yeah, Longview Drive Northwest, 7427. I thought about using the address. When I was looking at that mountain, I was looking at the 7426 and I was wondering, could this be like Albuquerque grid system? And was wondering whether or not that could have helped me. Let me see. Nah, I don't think that could have gotten me anywhere, unless I would have assumed that was 7400 north of Albuquerque. But I'm so happy with that result. Wow, let's keep this up. I'm really so happy with my grinding and my improvement in this game. Even like if the next 3 rounds take a nosedive, I'm proud at how I started this. I really love this map, and it's hard, you know. Sometimes we don't get, well, we're not going to get an intersection here either. We get some palm trees. Get some kind of tall palm trees off to the southwest. Let's see what we can do in the way of plates. That is a very plain plate. Although I would venture to guess that's a Texas plate. I think I'd wager a little bit of money that's a Texas plate. But look at this. We have yet another car down the street with no front plate. We also have this very interestingly colored fire hydrant. Let's come back to that. Plate right ahead of us doesn't help a whole lot. That could be making things up, but that almost looks like a California plate. Maybe it's the red coming from the car, from the Elantra. Yeah, I don't think that's a California plate. Okay, what do we have here? 456034. This pole meta, somebody has to know. It's not a California pole, that's for sure, but it's not a pole meta I recognize. I'm gonna have to remember that one. I wish I could read the lettering on that building. We also get another car with no front plate. That's throwing off my Texas. We get a car with a license plate I don't think I recognize. Could these be Louisiana plates? Where else would we have palm trees? Where else would look rather derelict, low income, cyclone fences? Let's take a look at the soil. Soil is sandy, for sure. Soil seems a little kind of mossy, almost. All right, let me explain what I was thinking about with this fire hydrant. This can be dangerous, but these colors are important. I'm from Columbus, and one important piece of Columbus meta is in much of the city and a lot of the suburbs, you see these distinct scarlet and gray fire hydrants for, of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. When I saw this fire hydrant, the first thought I had was that these are Southern colors. These are Southern University Jaguar colors. And they are, I believe, in Louisiana. They could be in Baton Rouge. I believe they're in Baton Rouge. Having a hard time reading that mailbox. 762029. Veteran Rome. Hard telling. Okay, well, we talked about first instincts. My first instinct in the last round was Rio Rancho, and it turned out to be very accurate. My first instinct here was Houston. I'm not sure how accurate that is. With the way these streets are laid out, the chaotic nature of just like everything, the fencing, When I saw that, what looked like a Texas plate, these palm trees off in the distance, I think we're in Texas, we're in South Texas, but again, I don't think we're there. But there is a car with a front plate. Confusing. This is confusing. Could we be possibly somewhere on the border? Maybe East Texas and Louisiana. That's possible. What looks to be somewhat of southern pines there, for sure. So southern pines mixed with palm trees. Humor me for a bit. And let me try to figure out where Southern University is. Is it in Baton Rouge? I believe Southern University is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I could be pretty persuaded that somewhere like that is where we are. There's Southern University. Okay. There's Southern University up there in Baton Rouge. Definitely been in Baton Rouge before. I remember being plonked right by this A.W. Mumford Stadium. I remember seeing these colors everywhere. I've seen a Southern University basketball game. Those are the colors, that just kind of exact shade, too, of yellow and blue. But that may just be a goose chase. I remember one time I was in Des Moines. I believe this might even be on video. One time I was on Des Moines and didn't really know where I was, saw some really Green Bay Packers color fire hydrants, and I'm like, yeah, Green Bay seems plausible. So I plugged Green Bay, and it was actually Des Moines. Those Packers, green and gold Packers colors, fire hydrant. So maybe the colors are just a wild goose chase, but I'm not. I'm getting mixed signals on the license plates. At any rate, we are somewhere southern. And I would say with this kind of landscape, Gulf Coast for sure. Gulf Coast. We are not in Cali. Just the architecture is not right. Leaning away from Texas, although if you told me this was somewhere like maybe Beaumont or Port Arthur instead of Houston, I would buy that for sure. I would buy that. I like somewhere in this Houston, New Orleans, Houston, Jackson corridor. Again, I'm leaning away from Texas just because of there's two cars now with no fronts versus one with fronts. Getting a Texas plate, but getting some other things that don't really look like Texas plates. This is hard. This is hard. I'm willing to go here in Baton Rouge, though. I think that's not a bad send. Let's do it. Let's go somewhere up by Southern even. Okay, well, my first instinct was correct, right? So first instinct, Houston. And it was Houston. Why did I not go Houston? So mix of plates for sure. Gulf Freeway. Yeah, I mean, everything checks out, but man, two cars with no fronts. Yeah, got baited by the fire hydrant. Again, well, not bad. I still like that plonk. It was right where I said it was. Twice. But, narrowed it down at least to that kind of southern Gulf Coast corridor. Didn't have a whole lot of clues going in. Should have probably not went with the fire hydrant and again went with my first instinct. Rio Rancho panned out. This one did not. Okay, my first instinct here is one I don't think I'm going to be able to get away from. I thought Long Island instantly. Even really before I saw the yellow plates, it's so suburban. Long Island, you got to remember, is the OG, the original suburbs. If you're somewhere and it's like, this is just suburban America, 100%, you might be getting Long Island vibes. Way off in the distance, 631, I believe, or 651. I think it's 651, but one of those is a inner Long Island area code. So I am going to, at this point, narrow down to Nassau County. I believe us to be somewhere in Nassau. We are not, I don't think, in Suffolk County. Suffolk County. I'm not sure exactly how the Long Islanders say that. I have an Appalachian Ohio accent, so I say Suffolk. Not there though. We're in Nassau. Not going to get very many clues. We're on an east-west road, and it's pretty urban. It's pretty urban feeling. Like looking down Quogue, Sinclair Fuel. Okay, so looking west, I'm gonna have to go. My Long Island region guessing ain't great, but I'm gonna have to go west of Farmingdale here. West of Levittown. I believe us to maybe be like, maybe even as far west as like Garden City. I don't think that that's a terrible send, although if we're going more dead east-west, I think somewhere more like Hempstead, Uniondale is good. Let's zoom out and see how that looks. Again, we don't really have many clues other than I believe us very strongly to be in Nassau County. I need to improve my Long Island region guessing. This just looks very middle class, so I think I'm just going to go like middle Long Island. I like Hempstead, Uniondale. Ah, now we were out in Suffolk County. We were way out. We were east of Patchogue even. Wow. Mastic. Mastic. Interesting. Wow, okay. So that's almost out to the Hamptons. There's East Quogue, or however you say that. Yeah. Patchogue. I should have gone east to Patchogue. Okay, well, not bad. On Long Island. Yeah, not super proud of that Long Island region, Gus, but we were there. Florida plate, Iglesia Vida Nueva. School of the New Life, right? Hey, I know a little bit of Spanish. Or church of the New Life. Iglesia. Iglesia Vida Nueva. Okay. Florida, train tracks to our south. Train tracks directly to the south. Okay. Interesting, kind of freight train there. This looks very rural for Florida, is what I was going to say. Trying to read that sign. SCFE. SCFE. South Coast, Florida? Sun Coast, Florida? It just looks so weirdly like agricultural or industrial for Florida. No fronts. 100% Florida plate on that van. Less confident about this car on the end. I mean, I think that, it's got to be another Florida plate, but could be a Georgia, I guess. It's just hard to tell. None of this looks Georgia, though. All of this looks Florida. And the more I look around, it's very Florida, right? City of somewhere. Oh man, why can't I be closer? Let's look. City of, and it's a fairly like middle length name, medium length name. By that I mean it's not Miami, it's not Tampa. Could that say City of Orlando? City of Orlando. It seems like that might be what it says. I know Orlando is kind of flat and agricultural like this. The Orlando area. I'm bad at Florida. Train there, though. Now, that's a heavy rail train. Let's just take a look at Orlando. That is a very distinct, like, east-west railroad running through there. That's a distinctive railroad. I would expect, if I knew where we were, to be able to find that on the map. SCFE, or SCFL, And city of, God, I think that says Orlando. Look dumb if it doesn't. Lakeland, possible. Not going this high. I'm not going this high. I think I like Orlando. Let's do it. Nope, farther south, but we were in Central Florida. Where were we? Clewiston. And yep, we could definitely see that railroad on the map. Clewiston. So yes, Central Florida, agricultural. We were down there near Lake Okeechobee. So it didn't come close to the record, but still, I think a solid score, no moving. 22098. What really cost me was getting fooled there in Houston in the Gulf Coast. Started out with two really strong rounds. No moving, not a lot of clues. I hammered out Memphis in my brain, then went Rio Rancho. That was close enough for my purposes. Should have gone with my first instinct of Houston. License plates confused me. But when I, think for a while, if I think for 7 minutes, I'm still confused. I let the fire hydrant lead me astray. Really would have looked like a genius, right? Though, if that was in Baton Rouge. So I don't feel too bad. And then Long Island, I narrowed it down, but it was just a bad Long Island region guess. So I'm going to have to take another look at Long Island region or Long Island area codes. Is that 651 actually out there in Suffolk County, maybe? And then Central Florida, I thought that said City of Orlando. It obviously didn't, but I'm pretty happy with that region guess. It's much better, honestly, than I normally do in Florida. I'm inland, I'm interior, and I'm roughly on the correct longitude. So pretty happy with my performance today. I hope that you learned something from my video, and thank you for watching.